Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I wanted to take a look at the new med bag in Battlefield 4 and compare it to the first aid pack. You may have noticed in the most recent update that DICE has nerfed the med bag. What they've done is that if you are fully suppressed or you are in combat, the medical bag will not start to regenerate your health until, I think, like the 5-second mark. You have to wait for 5 seconds until you're out of combat, and then it will start the healing process. And the reason why DICE has done this is that they wanted to put this gadget in line with all of the other gadgets in the game, because admittedly, it was kind of overpowered. Actually, I wouldn't say it was overpowered, but it was definitely the best gadget in the game. Being able to regenerate your health while in combat gave you a huge advantage against the enemy. And so, in my opinion, what they have done has been a good change. I'm finding that while playing as the medic is still a great infantry-focused class, it's nowhere near as god mode as it was before, especially if you're going against someone who wasn't using the medical bag. And so, what I wanted to find out for myself is if the first aid pack, that gadget or accessory that no one uses on the battlefield, if that is now a more viable accessory compared to its big brother, the medical bag. And so the way that the first aid pack works, I'm assuming it's been a long time since you've used this bad boy, I know it was a long time for me, is that you can place this down on the ground and any teammate that walks over it, or you walk over it, it will latch onto you and then heal you for 10 health every second. The caveat to this though is that as soon as you get shot, it breaks the healing effect. You have to reapply it, you have to put it back down the ground, pick it back up to get the healing starting once again. Another caveat is that it works the same way that the medical bag does right now, is that if you are in combat, you still need to wait that 5 seconds before it activates. The nice thing about it though, and how it differentiates itself from the medical bag, is that if you get suppressed while it's healing you, it will continue to heal you to full health, or if you take some damage. The med bag, on the other hand though, if you get suppressed at any time, it stops that healing process. And so now the question is, do these changes make it a more viable gadget? Does it put it on par with a medical bag, or is it still just a very niche item that you'll only see a couple people using every so often? During the multiple hours that I was using this gadget to test it out, I found that it allows you to be very mobile compared to the medical bag. And while I know a lot of you will say, well, that's exactly how it functioned in the past. You throw this down, you can run around, and it will continue to heal you. You don't have to stand on the medic bag the entire time to get that bonus. And you're 100% right. But because of this big patch update, now you have to sit next to a med bag for 5 seconds to wait until you're out of combat, and then probably another 5 seconds to get to full health. That's a fair amount of time just sitting in one spot to try to regenerate your health. On the other side of the coin though, while you still have to wait that 5 seconds for the first aid pack to kick in, you can continue to move around. You don't have to sit in one spot. And so I found that if I wanted to be very mobile, the first aid pack was way more advantageous because it didn't have that large restriction making me or forcing me to stay in one spot if I did want to get my health to full. The downside of it though is that this is a very active gadget. You cannot just plop this thing down and help out your teammates. If you want to not be a selfish assault player, you have to be constantly actively throwing these things around the map and trying to toss these to your teammates. The great thing about the medical bag, and the reason why everyone uses it, is that you plop this thing down, even if it was for selfish reasons, you were trying to regenerate your health, anyone that needs that benefit will gravitate on over towards it so they can get those nice healing points. The first aid pack, on the other hand, only benefits one individual player, and so if there are 5 people that need healing, you have to toss like 5 of these things all over the place, and of course that's going to take a lot of time. And so in my experience, I found that while for me individually, I really liked it because I was able to stay very mobile. As soon as I saw multiple players or multiple teammates that needed some healing, I was just kind of tossing these things around for a good couple of seconds, and that mobility that I was really looking for just kind of fell by the wayside because of the restrictions of this gadget. Another thing I wasn't too keen on is that for whatever reason, the first aid pack has a hard time latching onto you or your teammates. There were numerous moments when I needed healing. I needed it right then and there. I tossed it on the ground, I ran over it, I was running away from the enemy, I was trying to get into a better cover, and I noticed that the med bag was still behind me. I looped back around, I tried to pick it on up, it finally activated, but then at that point, the enemy team was able to round the corner, and I'm meeting, 4 or 5 guys, and of course I'm back at the spawn screen. That is really, really annoying, and in my opinion, it's one of the largest drawbacks of using this accessory. If DICE was able to make this more consistent and it latched onto you faster, it's a little hard to explain. If you've used it, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But if they were able to make it more consistent, I could see this being a much more viable gadget. But right now, because I'm constantly backtracking and second guessing myself, trying to pick these things off of the ground, that mobility that you're looking for, and is supposed to be a key feature of the first aid pack, falls by the wayside and is no longer a benefit because you're backtracking. That's not what you're looking for when you want to have a lot of mobility. And so in my opinion, while the nerf to the med bag has made the first aid pack a lot better than it was in the past, like I could see myself using these more often. I think that a lot more people are going to start to use these on the battlefield simply because it doesn't latch onto people very consistently. Or maybe I'm just seeing things and I haven't used them long enough and I'm not an expert, but at least from my experience, that mobility that I'm looking for just isn't there because I'm always constantly second guessing myself. What I would really like to see, and maybe this is pushing things too far, maybe this would make the first aid pack too powerful, is that if you toss this to a teammate or you pick it off of the ground, have it instantly start the healing process. Even if they're in combat, even if they're fully suppressed, have it start to heal the player. The downside of using it is it only heals one person. It's not like your entire team is getting healed by this one medical pack. Also, as soon as they take damage, they lose the benefit. The medical pack just disappears. You're going to have to toss another one in their direction if they want to get that healing bonus. In my opinion, that would be a great way at elevating the power of the first aid pack and putting it more in line with honestly all of the other gadgets in the game, but more specifically with the medical bag. Maybe it would be pushing things too far. You guys can let me know down below. I actually want to get your opinion. Do you think that this would make it blatantly overpowered or it'd be too powerful compared to the other gadgets? But in my opinion, it would be that sweet spot because at least right now with the current mechanics, while I think that it is a decent gadget, it's way better than it was in the past simply because of the nerf. I think it still needs a little bit more loving. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts about the first aid pack. Do you think it's in a sweet spot right now? Do you think that it is an appropriate power level? Would you like to see it get a little bit of loving? Do you think it should get a buff, a nerf? Let me know down below. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.